Think you need hundreds of clients to run a successful design business? What if I told you I built mine with just 5? And that's just one of the myths we're busting today. Hey there, I'm Marc Ducote from Resourceful Designer, and today we're diving deep into 8 myths about starting a home-based design business. Stuff that might be holding you back from taking the leap. So let's get right into it. Myth number 1, you need lots of clients. Let me share something that might surprise you. I started my business with just 5 clients, and I kept only those 5 for my first 9 months before finally acquiring a 6th client. Want to know something even more surprising? Currently, I'm working with only 11 regular clients. Not dozens, not hundreds, just 11. And by regular, I mean these are clients I've done more than one project for over the past year. For some, it was 2 projects. For others, it was many more. But it was only 11 clients. Now, let me break down my client numbers even more. As I said, I currently have 11 active clients. Projects currently in progress, I have 6. And that ranges from business cards to full websites. And the total clients over the past year was 28. Now, this includes those 11 active clients. The other 17 are clients I did a single project for. And here's the big one. Since I started my design business over 20 years ago, I've worked with 138 clients. And you know what? I've made a pretty good income from them. Now here's the kicker. I've never placed a single paid advertisement. Why? Because I was doing so well with my small client base that I was actually worried about getting too many clients and not being able to treat them all the way they need to be treated. So the myth that you need lots of clients to succeed? Busted. Speaking of income, this leads us to another common fear. Myth number 2, you can't match a regular paycheck by freelancing. Here's the reality that changed my life. When I started my design business, I needed only 12 billable hours per week to match what I made working 40 hours at my previous job. Now let that sink in. It's because when you work for yourself, you keep more of what you earn. Your hourly rate is higher than agency pay. The job I worked at charged $50 an hour for design work, but only paid me $18. Once I started on my own, I continued to charge $50 an hour and got to keep it all. Plus, you have fewer deductions coming off your paycheck when you're working for yourself, and you have more tax write-offs, which helps supplement your income. So in my case, I only needed 12 billable hours per week to make the same money I was making at my previous job. And that meant with a 40-hour work week, I had 28 hours to build my business, network, learn new skills, develop marketing strategies, all while making the same income I had at my old job. And if I build more than 12 hours, you get the idea. So this one, busted. Now that brings us to myth number 3. Setting up a business is complicated. Now, unless you're incorporating, the process is actually surprisingly simple. Working under your own name is often free. Basic business registration as a solopreneur usually comes in at under $200. And if you require a business license where you live, it's a simple application process. And insurance? Important, but pretty straightforward. And that's all you really need to get started. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so please check with your local regulations. But talking with designers from around the world, setting up a business seems relatively easy no matter where you live. So this one is also busted. Now, here is a pro tip. Many communities have free resources to help new businesses start up. Please take advantage of these. It's well worth it. Now let's tackle 2 of the myths that probably stop most people from starting. Myth number 4, you need expensive equipment. Modern computers are powerful enough that even mid-range machines can handle most design work. All you really need are a reliable computer, and it doesn't need to be top of the line, and an internet connection. Most design work can be done with just these 2 things. There is no need for expensive scanners or fancy printers or other costly equipment. Things like backup drives and fancy monitors, they're nice, but they're not required for you to get started. On a similar note, myth number 5 is that professional software is too expensive. Now, the software landscape has changed dramatically since I started my business, and I had to pay thousands of dollars for the programs that I needed. Now, whether you like or hate the subscription model, there's no arguing that software companies have made it much more affordable for designers to get started. There's Adobe Creative Cloud, the staple in the design industry. There's Canva, which the designer in me hates to admit just how good it actually is. There's Affinity now that's free, and with many extra perks if you have a paid Canva subscription. And there are also still free options like GIMP and Inkscape, not to mention the many web-based tools out there. Remember, most clients want PDFs and web-ready files. They don't care what software you use to create them. So the myths about equipment and software, both busted. Now that we've covered the technical side, let's talk about the creative aspects. Myth number 6, you'll get to work on projects you love. Now, while you have more control over client selection, you still need to handle some of the less exciting projects they bring you. You still need to build relationships with various types of clients. You still need to balance creative freedom with what the clients need or ask of you. And you still have to develop a diverse enough portfolio to attract new clients. Now, here's a pro tip. Target industries with clients you want to work with. Through strategic networking, designers who work or find a niche to work in are much more likely to find projects that they love working on. So this one is possible, eventually, but with a lot of effort. Now, myth number 7 is you'll make a fortune as a freelancer. Now, let's be realistic. There are a lot of YouTube videos that advocate that designers charge 5 or 6 figures per project. And some designers claim to be bringing in millions per year. And while I'm not saying that's impossible, in fact, I know a few designers at that level, the reality is most freelancers never make a 6-figure salary. And that's okay. You can make a very comfortable living without charging thousands of dollars for a logo design or tens of thousands for a website. Keep in mind, those top-tier designers, they didn't start that way. They had to work to get there. And your income correlates with the effort you're willing to put in. And building wealth takes time. Remember that home office expenses, they're tax deductible. Everything from your desk to your glass cleaner used to clean your office windows, they can all be deducted, which will increase your earnings, which will help you out. But success, it comes from smart business practices. It comes from efficient time management, comes from strategic client relationships, and from continuous skill development. So this one is also possible if you're willing to put in the effort. And that brings us to myth number 8. You'll have lots of free time. This one always makes me chuckle. Running your own business, it means continuous learning, regular networking, managing client relationships. It means business administration, marketing and promotion, and so much more. Yes, you have the freedom to make your own hours. But if you keep using those hours for free time, you won't have a business to worry about. So this one, in my mind, it's busted. Remember, success in design isn't about having hundreds of clients or the most expensive equipment. It's about building sustainable relationships. It's about delivering quality work and consistently growing your skills. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and ring that bell to learn more about running a successful design business. I share new tips every week to help you grow your design career. That's it for me. Until next time, stay creative.